Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to go over the perfect recipe for manifesting and creating the perfect love or relationship that you want with your specific person. So get your utensils ready, get your ingredients ready, because we're about to cook. And I really like this metaphor, and I think you are too. So definitely stay for the whole video, because I think you're really going to enjoy it. But there's a couple things that we actually need to go over before we can dive into the recipe for you and the perfect love that you want in your reality. So the first thing we need to know is there is no separation in consciousness. So inside of you, you always have and contain an unlimited amount of assumptions or possibilities. All of your manifestations are alive within you at this very moment. And we are picking and choosing those assumptions. And that's what's kind of giving rise to our reality outside of us, right? But we are never without the choice to make at any given point in time. We can change our assumptions. We can pick from the vast, unlimited amounts of possibility within us and create that in our reality at any given time. And a good example to think about is just because you're eating an apple doesn't mean you could never eat a banana. Or just because you want to be a baker doesn't mean that you can't be an astronaut. And right now, if you're feeling unloved, that doesn't mean that you can't feel loved instead or see that outside of you. And now we're going to switch into that metaphor of baking and creating, and I'm going to show you the perfect recipe for manifesting your specific person. So I want you to think about right now, when you go to the grocery store, do you get basically the same stuff every time, right? When you go to the grocery store, do you have a list that you kind of draw from and you're like, all right, I'm going to get cinnamon rolls, I'm going to get apples, I'm going to get bagels, I'm going to get cream cheese, I'm going to get whatever it is. And most likely every week you kind of get the same amount of stuff, right? Sometimes it's a little bit different, but you get the same things basically every single time. But the way I want us to relate this to manifestation is think of the grocery store as the unlimited possibilities and the grocery list and the things that you get as your assumptions. So just because we get certain things from our grocery list and we purchase that and bring it home, put it in our refrigerator, doesn't mean that's all that the grocery store sells, right? The grocery store has vast amounts of other produce, meats, stuff, snacks that we just never get, right? Because we're not picking and choosing that thing when we go to the grocery store. But it doesn't mean that we can't. And as you take all of those groceries home, there's a limited number of recipes that you can create because of that, right? Like if you bring home carrots and cinnamon rolls, it's going to be really hard to bake a cake or make a steak. And if we tried to create those things using those ingredients, it would be very difficult and it would feel very frustrating. And now you're probably still asking, well, Kyle, how does this relate to manifestation again? But think about it. We're going to the grocery store. We're picking the ingredients. And if we want to create something, we need the proper ingredients from the grocery store in order to cook it. So we're taking assumptions from the vast possibilities that lie within us. We're taking those are our groceries, and then we're getting reflected in our external reality the recipes from those ingredients. So if we are picking the feelings of being unloved, feeling sad, feeling depressed, all of those, if those are our ingredients, we can't expect that assumption to create something that doesn't align with those ingredients. So instead, when we pick our ingredients from the grocery store, when we dive within the vast, unlimited amount of potentials and possibilities within us, we want to grab the assumptions that create and make the recipe that we want. And keep in mind as well, the ingredients that we're taking, the assumptions that we're taking, remain with us even with forgetfulness, right? If you take certain things from the grocery store and you put them in your fridge and you kind of forget what's in your fridge, it's not going to change what is there, and you still can't create the recipes you want if the ingredients in the fridge don't align with that perfect outcome. So again, right now I want you to ask yourself, what ingredients are you kind of taking from the vast, unlimited store within you, and what does it align with the recipe that we're trying to take or make? Mentally right now, I want you to go to the grocery store, go to your higher state, your God self, whatever you want to call it, and I want you to grab the ingredients, the assumptions that align you with the perfect and loving relationship with your specific person. What are you going to take off the shelf? Are you going to take love off the shelf? Are you going to take confidence off the shelf and put it in your cart and take it home and then brew up that recipe? Right now, you may even be having like an aha moment because some of these concepts seem very difficult to understand, but in a metaphor like this, it makes so much sense. In a lot of coaching sessions, I would say this idea is one of the most prominent. We still kind of sometimes expect to receive something, again, create the recipe, create a cake using steak and nachos, right? Like those things aren't going to mesh together to create that recipe. And our assumptions sometimes don't align with that as well. But we still get frustrated and worried and have anxiety attempting to create a cake using steak and nachos, right? That would be super frustrating to do. But instead of trying to force that and think of how can I actually switch my recipe? Maybe I could just try harder. Maybe I could cook it longer, bake it at a higher temperature. Instead of doing that, because that's usually our response when it comes to manifestation, I want you to switch out those ingredients because think about what I always say. Manifestation is meant to be easy and meant to be effortless. And how easy and effortless is it if we have the correct ingredients to cook our cake that we want? And how much of the opposite does it feel again if we're trying to cook a cake with steak and nachos? I mean, maybe we could make a good, I've never tried that, but maybe there is a good cake in there. But it would be very, very frustrating to cook something we don't have the ingredients for. But absolutely never, ever forget, no matter how you're feeling, you always have access to any possibility or assumption that you want. And if we can just choose those, we're going to get a much better outcome with our specific person. But this same idea can be utilized with absolutely anything, with your wealth, with your job, with your home, with your career, whatever it is. You can, what ingredients are we grabbing and what recipe are we trying to do? And I actually made a workbook for this specific idea and it's free. So if you wanted, reach out to me on my website, kyleaugustcoaching.com. Go to the contact tab and just send me, I would like the workbook and I'll send it right back to you. But I really, really want you to try this out and I really want to see your results with it because again, like I mentioned, that's one of the main things I've seen in a lot of my coaching sessions, and switching this belief is going to create so much better results with you and your specific person or any aspect of your life with manifestation. If you did have any questions, you can always leave it in the comment section below, or if you're reaching out for the workbook, just include any questions you have in that email as well. But I really hope this idea helps you out a lot, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.